Hey everyone. So this video hopefully will be brief, and I'm going to go over just a few things that I wanted to highlight for you to consider when doing the ethical dilemmas assignment. First, although we submit our studies for review by an institutional review board, even if they approve it, that doesn't necessarily mean that our studies have no problems whatsoever. Okay, now why is that? Well, institutional review boards can be high volume, meaning they have a lot of proposals. If that happens, then the higher the volume, the fewer the personnel, the easier it is for things to slip through the cracks. Also, institutional review board members can get used to certain kinds of things that should tip them off or should give them pause. So, for example, in every field of psychology, we study the effect of uncomfortable experiences: stress, pain, exclusion, discrimination. We study a lot of these things, and for us, the gold standard is experimentation. We can't say anything caused anything unless we've conducted an experiment where we've manipulated something. That oftentimes entails us manipulating whether or not an uncomfortable experience is had by our participants. So we either put them in a stressful or unstressful situation. We put them either in a painful or an unpainful situation. We exclude them or we don't, that kind of thing. So because we oftentimes have to measure or manipulate these uncomfortable experiences, IRB members can get used to seeing these kinds of high-risk manipulations and measures. Okay, but it's important because they see a lot of it, and that can kind of anesthetize them, or they can acclimate to that experience, making it more likely for high-risk things that are unnecessary to slip through. It becomes important for scientists to self-govern. So, some important questions we have to ask ourselves. First, is the risk imposed by our manipulations warranted by the value of the findings? All right. Now, the answer to that question may likely be answered differently by an expert in the field and a layman. So someone who is familiar with this research, does this research often, is very familiar with the implications, the value of the research, compared to someone who is a naive human scientist, someone who or a lay human scientist, someone who just is a casual observer, because the casual observer may not understand the importance of certain risks that the experts might. All right, and this class is one of the first steps in getting you on the path to understanding the importance of some of those risks. Okay, but so the value of the product, the results, has to be weighed carefully. Okay, what else? Well, sometimes our hypothesis, our research question, can be addressed using both risky or less risky methods. Okay, when we can address our research question without risky methods, it's always ideal to use unrisky methods. There's no point, there's no value in using risky methods just for risky methods' sake. All right. In fact, I would say that that's kind of an awful decision. It's an ethical violation. All right, and I don't know of any scientist who would do that. Nor have I read any studies where someone did something that was inherently risky for no purpose, because they could have answered their research question using less risky means. So part of self-governing is making sure, hey, can I answer this research question with methods that are not risky? If I can, I need to abandon any risky method I might have considered. All right. Also, it's important for laymen to understand, for students developing their expertise in the field, to understand that participants, well, in America anyway, have the right to not participate. And we, so even when the high risk manipulations are justified by the value of the results, potential results, even when there is no other way to do a study other than using high risk methods, even then, even under those circumstances, participants have the right to quit. They have the right to say, no, I'm done, I'm not doing the rest of this study. And we as scientists have an obligation to make that right clear to them, to highlight to them, hey, you can quit at any time. All right. Now, even though that's the case, sometimes, especially if we're using a college sample, sometimes it's not unheard of for our participants to feel compelled to continue. All right, they don't want to let us down, or they don't, they want to be a good citizen or something to that effect, and they'll proceed even though they may feel less than ideally, less than comfortable. All right, so we have to consider that. So again, it comes back to the scientists self-governing ourselves. So that's why these ethical dilemmas are so important. But these are a couple things I wanted you to consider while you're doing your assignments. IRBs can make mistakes. Do methods warrant? Do the importance of the results warrant the methods? Even if they do, are there alternatives for the high risk methods that are lower risk but still can answer the question? And are participants made aware that they can stop? But those are the things I wanted to highlight. Those are the things I wanted you to consider. By no means are those the only things that you should consider. Please read through the book chapters. Read through. There's tons of fantastic online material about the APA ethical guidelines. Be sure to review those. But those are the highlights. Those are the things I wanted to emphasize to get you ready for this assignment. All right. If you have any questions about anything that I've mentioned, please do not hesitate to send those questions my way. But that's all for this brief video, and I will see you later.